Yeah, it's actually the key role. It's the most important role that we have. Yeah, my colleague Tommy is usually in charge of that. Kind of like manuscripting, like figuring out the concepts, and then the actual design of the interactions or the mechanics of the application. And yeah, we call it game design, and it's kind of similar to game design to games, in the sense that you have to from the concept go to the details and think how it all works like a game system. It's really the key. The difference to entertainment games, in our case with urban planning, is that we have to develop the kind of almost everything, but especially the concept, and then even some of the details we have to develop together with the kind of partners, city planners or architects, and for example now for publishing these plans for the center of Oulu, it's actually the city architects who have like the lead now, that they are responsible for like kind of making the first version of this, some kind of concept or manuscript. But then where we come in is then that okay, they have some idea what they want to communicate, but then we kind of design that okay, what kind of experience, like gaming-like experience, could then communicate this idea. So and then yeah, let's see how it goes in that case, but it can be quite close collaboration then with kind of the design on the both sides. But the domain experts, the city planning and the architect people, they are not game experts. They don't like know how to do kind of the detailed game interface design. So that's for us. But starting from the concept, it can be that the concept comes from them even. So yeah, this kind of collaboration makes it really different. And I think you have to be a good game designer, because yeah, like many people say that it has to be good, like as a game, in the sense that it has to be a good experience, especially for large audiences. It has to be somehow engaging. Like invite people in and lead them nicely and have a good flow, like in a game normally. Because if it doesn't work well, then people just don't get interested, and so it's really important to understand kind of all the normal things about good game design. But yeah, then it gets more complex, because you also have to understand the domain itself, and then also what the customers want, what they want to prioritize, and what are the customers' goals really. So you must be able to combine these, and those I think are the most important skills. Yeah, I think it's quite kind of normal game design process, in the sense that some kind of idea, concept, first images, then more detailed design, prototype test, change, this kind of iterative. We usually work in 1 week sprints, and usually at least once a week we also update the version for the customer. So it really goes in these iterations or these cycles. Internally, not so much for us. Also for entertainment games, we develop them with this 1 week cycle. But of course, the difference is that then, especially in the early stages, we didn't like show it to anybody else. We just like within the team reviewed and developed, and perhaps for friends. but we didn't have this external partners who also review and comment. So I think that makes the difference in our case. I think it's actually really close to the same. That we need the same things, but yeah, I think we need the same elements, but the difference is only then that kind of the actual contents have to do with the real world, and it's not fiction, but still we need kind of the story anyway, and all the things to make it engaging. Well, we're a really small company, so we all do a lot. Tommy, our lead game designer, is also the CEO, and does the dishes and coffee and pays the bills and does also graphics design and negotiations with these customers, and so really a lot like for the same person. Kind of same for me on the technical side. But regarding kind of the game design activity, I think it's the normal that kind of to own the concept and then work it down to the details of this kind of interaction design. But yeah, he has a lot of responsibilities then, in addition to just the game design. But I think it has to be like a good game experience in the sense that it's like fluent and engaging and simple, and you don't need to read a manual to play it or something like that. So it really has to be kind of like game-like that way. But then at the same time, it really should be like to the point with the goal that the game has, that it really has to serve the purpose as well. So if you get these two things combined, then I think you have it. Well, in our case, it usually means more these partners and customers, and they are really involved. Then kind of the normal end users, we actually don't involve so much in the early phases nowadays. Perhaps we should. And I guess we get there once we get like more things out, so that we get to hear more kind of comments and experiences from people, and then we can think further for the next versions that perhaps we can discuss with them, or learn from them kind of what works and what does not. But yeah, we haven't done that so much with in the early phases with normal people yet. Yeah. Yeah, it depends on the case, but yeah, we make them usually starting with some kind of synopsis, like a manuscript of the basic idea, and then this storyboards is usually how we go, and how the designer also like specifies the user interface and kind of the basic mechanics for the programmers. It's basically with kind of like a storyboard images, and if there's some more complex mechanism, then perhaps some kind of diagram of what happens, but usually it's actually just these storyboards and lots of talking, partial documentation. Yeah, art is such a undefinable concept, but I think it's different because entertainment games are usually some sort of fiction, and it's kind of easier to think of fiction as art. That okay, somebody created a story and a world, and it's kind of like literature, or like movies or comics or something, which is kind of clearly art. Whereas in our case, if we publish like, okay, you can experience the future of Hiukkavaara and try to find your way to school or something. It can be like artistic, and aesthetics are really important, and that's one thing that we are learning all the time from the architects, that they really like think carefully of what kind of graphical style to use in which context, for example, so that the focus would be on the right things. So, for example, if the point is to think of some area and where would we place the shops or something, if you put detailed models there with some like nice, some green wall or something with colors and all detail, then people just like start looking at the details and like window frames or something, and forget to think about the of the area. So that's why usually the aesthetics is really chosen carefully. That for in area planning, it's like really just these like abstract boxes, so that there's no detail to distract the people, and but it still has to look nice and give like a good feeling. And then we can use, like if the area with the buildings is just like white or something, then we can use colors to show, okay, here's a shop and here's the bus stop. And so it's a lot, the whole thing is a lot about kind of planning this visual communication and aesthetics and kind of like art in that sense. But it's not really art because it's all for like a purpose, and it has to serve kind of the purpose well, and it's this kind of like the aesthetics are the kind of to, yeah, kind of this utility to. So it's not really art in that sense, that it's not like artistic criteria, but more this serious criteria that kind of, we don't just choose randomly nice colors like you could perhaps do in art, but we had to really think of it from the communication standpoint. I think it's the key, really, and why we sort of approach our business from games is that we believe that in games people have kind of learned how to invite people in and make the whole thing somehow engaging and motivating, perhaps also so that you return to it, and there can be like social things that you get like peer pressure and you start doing stuff together and so forth. All those things are, I think, really the key, because if it's not engaging, if it's not inviting, then nobody cares, and probably they use some other application and not that. So that's kind of our core idea, that with lessons from games we could make this interesting. But I think it's really similar to normal games, that it has to be kind of pleasant all the way, that you can't have any glitches in between. It has to like start fast enough and really lead you in and be somehow fluent and clear and easy all the time. So that's kind of the goal. But for us, it's actually really challenging, because we work with these sometimes quite big like area models in 3D, and now it's kind of a nightmare that we have to somehow publish the city center, which is kind of like big and complex already. And we know that it doesn't work if it's like slow and heavy, but at the same time it has to have like enough detail. So it's technically a huge challenge for us to be able to publish complex 3D stuff on the web and and on mobiles, so that it would be still like a pleasant experience. And we really try to have to like balance that there's like enough stuff, but it's not too heavy, and it's really hard. And yeah, much of where my like own time goes into like trying to find optimizations. So it's kind of easy to know what the good experience would be, but sometimes it's technically really challenging to actually be able to deliver it to some like people with random cheap laptops or cheap phones. And so. Well, in business terms, of course, we hope that we can make it like a solid business and grow and like make it a scalable, globally relevant platform, so that if anybody wants to publish some plans and have like a nice user interface for exploring them and then getting feedback and presenting alternatives and all that, we hope that we become like a really relevant player there. But then actually kind of the underlying motivation is that, and why I'm personally kind of actually much more interested in serious games than entertainment games, is to, and I think we actually have a chance to like do something in the world, because kind of our idea comes from this kind of simple experience that if you live in a city or in some area, usually you don't feel really much in control, that it's just that the surroundings just like happen to you. One day you walk to work or something and you notice that, oh, they have started building something and I wonder what it is. And then when it's ready, then you see that, oh, they made that kind of building there. And it's kind of weird because the cities and all, it's about us people, and we are making these environments for ourselves and quite often also with our money, like tax money for the roads and all that. But still it feels that it's like the roads happen somehow and we are not in control. So and we kind of believe that it's not really like a good process nowadays, that sometimes the designs are stupid, because like people then start behaving differently after for example, the roads have been built. People walk from a different place, but then you can't do anything anymore because the road was already built and that's it. So so it kind of seems so powerful that kind of with games and with virtual reality we could like explore alternatives and plans and invite people and kind of learn the things before the things are built, because now we can have them kind of virtually beforehand. And we really hope that we get this process going, and it's not just us, many other people are working in this as well. So I really hope that that like kind of the real world actually gets better thanks to these technologies during the next like 10, 20, 30 years. So yeah, that's what we can hope in that sense.